Hey everybody, we got a sunny day. Gonna get the awning for the bus setup. New to me, awning. This is something that Bus Depot sells. They call it an EZY awning. Basically, my understanding is we're gonna lock it into the drip rail here all the way across. And then I got the additional kit that actually takes the tent stakes that would normally go into the ground somewhere, and it ties them into the jack points on the bus. So you essentially have a freestanding awning. I got the large one, which should run the length of the bus, I think. We'll find out. So I'm gonna start off by a little unboxing video, I guess. I think all the kids love those. So this is as I got it from old Bus Depot. With my 7 subscribers, I doubt Bus Depot is watching, but if you are, you can always use some stuff and do videos on. Okay, so we got some instructions. Very windy today. It's a penalty that we're paying, I guess, for the temperature. Okay, so this is for the wheel mount kit, where it looks like these will go into under the wheels, so you can kind of drive over them. Wheel mount. Oh, there's a jack point kit instructions too. Okay, jack point mount kit. All right, so we'll see. I mean, I'm not really worried about this too much. The instructions, I feel like this is going to be fairly self-explanatory. I'm going to put the instructions somewhere where I will not lose them, and the wind will not destroy them. Kind of expecting, yeah, like, I guess we got some poles. Woo-hoo. Yeah, guys, it's going to be a windy one today. We got some poles. These look like the actual kit themselves. This is what goes in the jack point. And then we got the awning kit itself from our friends at Bus Depot. I've done a lot of work on the bus. Again, like, not an affiliate, no sponsorship, nothing, but these guys are probably the best in the business, at least for me, here in the US, to get bus parts. Every time something's out of stock, they call before they ship. They're pretty good about technical questions. They've got a whole line dedicated to that. You can talk to somebody who kind of knows. If you have questions about will it fit, what year. So they've been great. I don't know if anybody else sells this particular kit. I have only seen it for sale on their website, and obviously, now of course I'm using something sharp where it literally says do not use anything sharp, but I trust myself not to cut it. Okay, alright, well, you can see why they say don't use something sharp, since it is literally right underneath there that we have the bag. Supposedly this just packs up nicely into a bag when not in use. And based on the fact that it's here in the bag, I would assume that it's probably accurate. So it seems like we've got a bag of poles. And then, I'm guessing this is the fabric here. Okay, and then we have a bag of stakes. Looks like a very easy to lose screw and some replacement push tabs for the poles, probably. And then we got some instructions. So what I am going to do, because I have not ever installed one of these, is I am going to pause the video and read these so I know what to do. And then when I come back, we will get this thing set up on the bus. All right, guys, it's up. I would have shown you putting this together, but I can assure you that it would not have been helpful watching me struggle with the poles. Definitely easier if I show you how it goes together now that it's up. It'll just be easier this way, I think, just because there's so many. The poles don't look like they make sense at first. It takes a second to kind of conceive how it goes together, so I'm going to describe it. But first impressions, before I even talk about that, this thing's great. I mean, I can still open the door. Doesn't affect the... Get away from there, doggy. No. Doesn't affect opening the door at all, so you can be underneath this thing, and it goes edge to edge on the bus all the way around. So there's a lot of room under it for chairs. I guess the poles are probably a little close together with this configuration, just because I'm using the jack point kit. I think if I was using the standard like stake it to the ground kit out there on the edges, there'd be even more room under here. But I go to a lot of shows with this thing, and I'm on pavement, and on pavement it doesn't really, you can't stake it in. So this is my solution to not having to stake it in on pavement. So I'll start with the obvious. You know, you stretch it out. It's pretty clear how it goes together. It does say Bus Depot on the edges that will go to the either onto the bus or be in the front. That doesn't change. And either of these ends will work. Like this end can be against the bus or that end vice versa. Like they're the same. What you're looking for is the end that has these pockets. If the end that has the pockets is the one you're after for whichever, again, it could be this side, it could be that side. So when you build this up, you lay it down on the ground in front of the bus upside down. That way you can have access to all of the little pockets and all the little pieces. And the first thing you do is click together this black pole. This black pole is like the fiberglass tent poles that everybody sees on the cheapo pup tents nowadays. You just lay them flat and tie them into these little pockets here. There's one there, there's one there, there's one over here, and there's one there. And then you tie it together in the middle to make sure it holds the arc. After you do that, you start building the pole that goes on this outer edge. And they talk about in the instructions, the horizontal pole. I don't know why, I'm not sure why it's horizontal. I would have called it the outer edge or something else. It was a little clearer, but that is the pole you're building. And it really just, the beginning of it just consists of really two pieces. It's not complicated. One piece is the piece that has this little pin on it. So you're going to see two of these pieces. Only two of these, or four of these, have this little pin on them. There's one in each corner, and those pins are what ultimately hold the fiberglass rod. But the first step is you just get this piece that has the pin, and from this end of it, you slide this piece over. In the instructions, it's kind of laid out weird where this is off to the side, and I didn't really understand that this was the actual foot of the awning, but it is. Now in my configuration, I had to slide this all the way from where they said to put it all the way into here because I'm using the jack mount kit, and again, it's very close in the middle. But normally, you'd be out this piece and this piece would go together as one unit, and then you do the same thing on that corner, no different. You know, you got the end with the pin, and you have the piece with the leg on it that slides on this way. When you put that together, lay it in the pocket-ish area, just get it close. Then this bar in the middle here, there's only one of these. Well, there's two of them, but you only need one for out here. This is one of the pieces that actually clicks together all on its own. This section here is made up of three individual pipes that have a rope in between that helps them pull together. And then there's another one that goes in here. So there's two of them total. You take whichever one you like, it doesn't matter, and you click it to the end sections that you made, and then you pop that into these pockets here. There's a little Velcro flap here that you put the pin in with the flap open, and then you tighten up the flap. The instructions say that it doesn't matter how tight this is, it'll find its own home, and it did. Like, it pulled this out a little bit, and I just tightened it up. Once you have that complete, this section of the tent is done. Then all you do is rinse and repeat for this side, but there's no leg section to slide over because there's no leg. You just make sure that the pin end is over here and that you put the bar in the middle, and then you attach it. And you attach both these the same way. There's Velcro pockets. That's why you have to make sure that the Velcro pocket version of the edge, like these edges, have to either be here or there, because it's that Velcro pocket that holds it. There's nothing on the side except for optional Velcro for walls. You can actually put walls on this and make it like a legit tent. So after you get the frame of the front and the back here together, then you actually drive these into the pins. And it's a tight fit. It tells you in the instructions it's a tight fit because you're trying to get it to create this bow. If you look at this thing, it's actually bowed quite a bit. That bow comes from the force you have to apply to these fiberglass posts. So I got one side in and then the other here, and it was just laying flat. And that made it really hard to get this pole when I did this one to bend it up. But what I did is I just kept shaking the whole tent assembly as I was trying to get the fourth pin in. I just kept shaking it, and it was creating the bow as I shook it, and that worked out really well. Then you basically have it set up. It's on the ground looking just like this. It's pretty much done. Then it's just a question of attaching it to the bus. So that give you 3 clips. These guys here. It sits in this rail really nice. You just put the bar in, and then you tighten the clamp up. And there's rubber on both sides to protect it. I haven't painted this yet, so I didn't really care about it. When I get to the point where this is painted, I'm gonna have to be a lot more careful with this, or just accept the fact that it's gonna get tore up, which both options are probably acceptable for this project. But in the middle here, it sits in the rail really nice. And I think if you don't have a Westfalia, you'll probably have an easier time with this than I did, because it sits down in the rail great. But when you start to get out towards the middle of the pop top here, this front section of the Westfalia top is fixed and comes over to the edge of the drip rail much further. So the bar doesn't go in all the way. It still grabs, it still holds, it's still doing the thing, but it doesn't pop in quite as nice. And in the back, it's a similar thing, where this edge of the pop top is much closer to the edge and further down, at least on my bus, so I can't get this to sit down completely in. But again, it's in there. I mean, I could continue to wail on this and tighten it further, but it's not going anywhere. After that's done, you basically have created a hinged canopy. With it laying on the ground, you've got just these stumps that end here sticking out. That's when I built the rest of the leg. The leg, and this is going to differ if you don't have a bus that you're using the jack points for. If you don't use the jack point kit for it, it's going to be a little bit different in terms of how many of these you use and how you adjust this, and it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, you've got a section here, and then you've got this section here, which you kind of build up out of the kit, that ends in a foot. And the foot here is what screws into the jack point. The jack points, I don't know if you can tell, see how crooked they are? These don't fit straight into the jack points here. I had to put them in at a little bit of an angle. I'm not sure how well you can tell, but you see how it's kind of crooked? It works, it's on there, it's not going anywhere, but I think if I just grind the edge off of this a little bit and make it a little bit more narrow, I'll be able to put it in flat, because there's a nylon rider in here that this screw actually goes up and pushes the bar up into the jack point, and then the nylon piece underneath is what rides in there and fills that hole up. Then you just simply take your leg and you screw it on from the top. These screws both came in this way for some reason, but you screw this into the top here, and it works because I can do it. It's okay for it to be twisted a little bit. Same thing on that side, same crookedness too. I'm not worried about this coming out. Like I said, with this thing cranked down, it really can't come out. It's not going anywhere, but I think I'd like it better if this was straight and level. It would give this a more even plateau. So then I had the bars on the ground flat and this stump, and I just picked the bar up, same time I picked up out here with my hand, and I put them together at this slip joint here. And when they go together at that slip joint, you can adjust this. Obviously, it's a slip joint. So I just pulled the pole out to adjust the height to where I wanted it, and then locked it down. Rinse and repeat over here, same slip joint, pulled it out, locked it down. So it isn't, the instructions are like, the first time you put this up, it's going to be the longest it takes you for as long as you own the awning. They're 100% right. It goes on really simple when you understand it. And trying to figure out the bars and the poles and everything when you're not sure takes a little bit of time. I've got it kind of kicked back a little bit because I'm tall. I don't know if you can tell because I'm not holding the camera quite level, but I have it kicked up in the front. Over here, it's up. I want to be able to walk under it. Doesn't seem like it's going to hurt it. It's very windy today. Part of the reason I didn't film the whole putting it up piece and time-lapse it is because the wind was fighting me the entire time it was on the ground. It kept blowing it up. My dogs kept trying to sit on it. It was fairly terrible. So I'm leaving it up because I want to see how it does in the wind. And you go somewhere with this thing, you don't need it blowing down or blowing off or picking up. I don't see how it could. I mean, it's gonna take a lot of force, I think, to move this. And ultimately, because of the way it's shaped, I don't think the wind's gonna get under it that easy. So we'll see. And here comes the wind right now. Yeah, it pulls up on it. It definitely gets a little bit of height raised on it, but it's just not that bad. I don't know. I love it. Definitely going to help a lot at the shows when you're on the pavement and you really, oh, there's some really big wind. Oh, look at that, guys. You see that? So it does move. It does move. You know what I think I'll do? I think based on that, yeah, it pivoted up on the hinge. That's really interesting. I'm glad that did that while we were here, because what I think what'll solve for that is it's got these tie downs here. If I simply grab one of these and string something fixed like a rope down to that corner there and do the same thing, that corner in, it'll definitely affect, yeah, see now the wind's going, but with me holding it, it can't do that. All right, so I'm gonna get some string and set that up. I'm kind of glad that went off. I didn't think it was going to raise like that, but it's pulling it straight up. And because of these feet are hinged down here, it has lots of options to do that, I guess. So let me grab some string and tie that off, and I'll come back. I mean, none of these things would make me say there's something wrong with this setup. This setup is great. If I could stake this, like if I'm not in a parking lot, I'm going to be doing this, and if it's windy, it doesn't go up. If I could stake these down, like if I could take these ropes and I could pull this line straight to the ground, I think I have no problem at all. And that's what I'm going to do next, is just untie it and stake it to the ground. But honestly, I think that it's so windy, my stakes are just going to pull straight up and out. I just don't think it's going to hold it. It's just too windy today, which, you know, happens with an awning. I mean, it's just the way it goes sometimes. But overall, I really like it. I'm excited about folding it up and putting it in the bus. We have a show coming up in a couple of weeks, and I plan on pulling this guy out. So, I don't know. I've had a whole bunch of videos on that Austin America back there. The video on the bus, just with the diesel heater, has gotten more views by like a factor of 10. And I don't know if that's because people love Chinese diesel heaters, or if it's a, see, there it goes, or if it's going to be a, you know, people like seeing bus stuff more. So depending on the comments and the feedback I get, I can do a lot more content on the bus. There's still a lot of things I want to do with it. There's still a lot of things I want to try. You know, I've done a lot of work already on it. So let me know what you think. Again, thanks for watching. Would love it if you left me a comment. Let me know what you think of the tent or the awning. And if there's anything else you guys would want to see, definitely subscribe. That also helps a lot. And thank you for watching.